Hare Krishna. We'll start with the invocation prayers. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalo Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhaiva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for joining early as well so that we can finish the unit revision today. So today we will be revising Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, chapters 8 to 12, which is unit 16. And next week, when Shivangi and Shalini are also virtually present, we'll discuss the practical learnings from last week when my Guru Maharaj was visiting Toronto. There were a lot of practical learning and services. So we'll discuss that when they are there. And today we will just focus on revising the chapters. We'll start with Mother Chandra Aunty.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, all assembled devotees, I seek permission and blessings from you all. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Parampara, Sri Radha and Krishna, seeking permission and able to speak. Please forgive me for any of my shortcomings. The Canto 4, Chapter 8, 1 to 34 text. This Canto 4 is the example of the mode of ignorance, whereas in the Chapter 8, it is devotional service in the mode of goodness and talks about the dynasty of Dharma. The leverage of Dharma, where mercy, cleanliness, austerity, truthfulness are explained. And there are examples, Sanakas, Sanatanas, Sanat Kumaras, Narada, and others. Whereas Adharma in religion was also a son of Brahma, and he married his sister Marsa, that is brother and sister. By this unnatural combination in human society, that is the beginning of Adharma. This law of karma continued birth after birth with the living entities in different capacities. So creation took place on the basis of irreligion. So the descendants are false, born anger, quarrel, harsh speaking, death, fear, severe pain, and hell. So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, one has to be cleansed, the dust from the mirror of the mind. Then only the advancement in the process of liberation will begin. By seeking the path of liberation, we may be saved from the repeated suffering. King Uddanapada, the descendant of Swayambhu Manu, had two twins named Suniti and Suruchi. Suruchi is more dear to king than Suniti, who had a son named Dhruva, and he was not very dear to the king. Then Suniti's. Once when his son Dhruva also wanted to sit on his king's lap with the other son of Suriji, his stepmother Suriji chastised him, saying, "You must have born from my womb." And even the king did not welcome him, Dhruva, at that time. Suriji was so envious of Dhruva, and she asked him to die and take next body in her womb. Only then it is possible for him to ascend the throne of his father. Dhruva heard this and he became very angry. And when and became very angry and left the place and went to his mother, trembling in anger and crying. Suniti came to know all these from the words from her co-wife, and her face was filled with tears and did not know the remedy for that in that painful situation. She said to Dhruva, "Do not wish anything inauspicious for others. Anyone who inflicts pain upon others suffers themselves." She further said, "Whatever your stepmother spoke is, although is very harsh, it is it is factual. So if you desire to sit at that same throne, then give up your envious attitude and immediately try to execute the instruction given by your stepmother without any delay. Engage yourself in worshipping the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead." She also said, "Your grandfather Brahma, by his penance and austerity, acquired the exalted position of creator of the universe by the mercy of the Lord. So you need his mercy." Thus, both the son and his mother decided to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. And because of that, that is the only situation for all material problems. This is the Thus he left his father's capital and went to the forest to search out for the Supreme Lord. To the Gaudiya Vaishnava, the forest is the Vrindavana for taking shelter. In Vrindavana, Srimati Radharani solves all the problems of life. The great sage Narada overheard this news because he is Trikala Jana. That is just like Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, as soon as the living entity is determined to in devotional service, God sent his representative. So here Narada was sent to Dhruva Maharaj. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says, "Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija." That is, with the grace of grace of Krishna and the spiritual master, one can enter into the devotional service. So Narada was sent to initiate Dhruva. By reaching Dhruva, Narada said that you are a little boy. In fact, many sages and yogis are, after placing continuous trance and austerity, were unable to find the end of the path of God realization. So you should not endeavor for this and will not be successful. So you better go home. When you are grown up, by the mercy of the Lord, you will get a chance for this performance. Generally, according to Vedic system, at the last stage of our life, will we take sannyasa, that is the devotional service. That is, people think childhood is the time to enjoy life, but the conclusion is not for the devotees who are actually serious. Here, the great say, Narada is just to test Dhruva's determination. So, it is so the direct order is at any time of one's life should begin rendering devotional service. But it is the duty of the spiritual master to test the disciple to see how serious he desires to execute the devotional service, and then he may be initiated. Material life consists of pious and impious activities. So, to come out of this clutches, we should surrender fully onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead to get out of this material existence. So, to make one happy within the material world and how to live life according to the Sri Bhagavad Gita 8.7, remember Krishna before and during any activities. And by Srimad Bhagavatam 4.8.31-34 says, not to be envious on others. This is the way to live our life. So a devotee who follows the regulative principles of Bhakti Yoga, in spite of all the sufferings, will be promoted to the kingdom of God. There is no more reactions of his previous karma. This unhappiness and the suffering are not the karma reactions, rather Lord's mercy to let go of the material world and return home back to Godhead. Because of his willingness to go back home, he accepts Lord's punishment and continues offering obeisances. By living the life by the mercy of the Lord, he reaches the Godhead. This is the price to pay to get the mercy of the Lord. The important point is one who tolerates is qualified to reach the mercy of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Thank you all so much.
Sridhar Prabhu, would you like to speak or you want me to play the recording?
I will speak, Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhujis and Matajis, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to summarize Canto 4, Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 8, Dhruva Maharaj Leaves Home for the Forest, verses 35 to 82. And this has got three parts. Part 5 until part 4, Mother Chandranti has covered. Part 5 is verses 35 to 62. Dhruva expresses his ambitious goal and Narada instructs him on the process to attain it. Narada Muni first gives transcendental knowledge. He says, be satisfied in any condition of life, whether distress or happiness, which is offered by the Supreme Will. Then you will be able to cross over the nishines very easily. And how to be happy in the material world. When we meet people who are more qualified, we should be pleased and not be envious. When we meet people who are less qualified, we should be compassionate and not deride. When we meet people who are equal, we should make friendship and not be proud. Dhruva Maharaj's response: your instructions are very good for peace of mind, for those disturbed by the material conditions of happiness and distress. I am covered by ignorance, and this kind of philosophy does not touch my heart. The reason the valuable instructions by Narada Muni did not stand in Dhruva Maharaj's heart was, it is due to his being born in a Kshatriya family. He thought that the instructions prohibited all material desires, and his stepmother Surichi's harsh words pierced his heart. Dhruva expresses his desire and ambition, and he expresses it to Narada Muni, saying that I want to occupy a position more exalted than any yet achieved within the three worlds by anyone, even by my father and grandfather. If you will oblige, kindly advise me of an honest path to follow by which I can achieve the goal of my life. And impossible is possible by devotion. Dhruv Maharaj wanted a position greater than that of Lord Brahma. This was practically an impossible proposition. However, by pleasing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, a devotee can achieve even the impossible. Dhruva asked for honest path. Dhruva Maharaj wanted to occupy an exalted position not by hook or by crook, but by honest means. This indicates that if Krishna offered him such a position, then he would accept it. That is the nature of a devotee. He may desire material gain, but he accepts it only if Krishna offers it. My dear Narada Muni, you are a worthy son of Lord Brahma, and you travel playing on your musical instrument, the veena, for the welfare of the entire universe. You are like the sun, which rotates in the universe for the benefit of all living beings. Narada Muni's expert advice. Your mother Suniti's instructions are suitable for you. Completely absorb yourself in the devotional service of the Lord. Anyone desires dharma, artha, kama, moksha should worship the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even one is full of material desires. Devotional service is the only means. And this is also confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, third chapter, 10th verse. Akama sarva kamo va moksha kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena jijeta purusham param. A person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of all material desire, without any material desire, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the supreme whole, the personality of Godhead. And Narada Muni instructs to Dhruv Maharaj to go to Madhuvana forest and take bath 3 times daily in Yamuna river and perform Ashtanga Yoga. In Ashtanga Yoga, perform like pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and meditate in the dhyana process on the Supreme Lord's form. And Narada Muni describes the Supreme Lord's form as the Lord is always prepared to offer causeless mercy. He has a joyful face and glance. And the Lord has beautiful nose and eyebrows, beautiful forehead, more beautiful than all demigods, youthful and has attractive limbs. His lips and eyes like the rising sun, the shelter of the surrendered, transcendently pleasing in all respects, worthy of surrender and an ocean of mercy, bears Srivatsa mark on chest, blue in complexion, and the Lord is a person and he wears a flower garland, and he has 4 arms with conch, disc, club, and lotus, wears jeweled crown and earrings, wears jeweled necklace and bracelets, Kaustuba jewel around the neck, wears yellow silk cloths, waist is surrounded by girdle of small bells, wears shining golden anklets, most charming to look at and peaceful, pleasing to the eyes and the mind, with the jewel-like nails of his lotus feet glittering. The Lord stands on the whirl of the lotus of the hearts of those who worship him, situated in the heart and intelligence of jivas. Meditate on the Lord's smiling face who looks very mercifully towards the devotee. Meditate regularly with great attention on the greatest benefactor. So, Benedictor. The confidential mantra to be chanted with the process of meditation was given to Dhruv Maharaj, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And one who carefully chants this mantra for 7 nights can see the perfect human beings flying in the sky. And if the mantra is confidential, then why is it mentioned in the writings of Srimad Bhagavatam? Answer is one may receive a published mantra anywhere, but unless it is accepted through the chain of disciplic succession, the mantra doesn't act. It is said by authoritative sources that any mantra chanted without having been received from the disciplic succession has no efficacy. Mantra Diksha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And how to receive the mantra is one should accept the mantra through a bona fide spiritual master, hear the mantra in the right ear, chant the mantra in front of the deity, offer boga as per time, place, and circumstance. About the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. This is a 12-syllable mantra worshipping Lord Krishna. It begins with the pranava or omkara. And there are Vedic rules for this particular mantra. There is an injunction that those who are not Brahmanas cannot pronounce the Pranava mantra. However, Dhruva was a Kshatriya, although not a Brahmana. He was allowed on the authority of Narada Muni to pronounce the Pranava Omkara mantra. However, Hare Krishna mantra is more merciful and anyone can chant and it doesn't violate Vedic rules. Dhruva circumambulates his spiritual master Narada Muni and offers him respectful obeisances and starts for Madhuvana. Part 6, verses 63 to verses 70. Narada meets and pacifies Uttanapada. After Dhruva left, Narada met Uttanapada and inquired about his welfare. Uttanapada regrets his dealings with Dhruva and says that he was henpecked and merciless. Dhruva would be unprotected and hungry. Uttanapada says he was cruel, conquered by his wife. Narada informs about Dhruva's safety and says to Uttanapada not to be aggrieved about Dhruva. Dhruva is well protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Dhruva's reputation is already spread all over the world. Uttanapada's son Dhruva is very competent. Very soon, Dhruva will complete his task and come back home. Dhruva will spread your reputation all over the world. Uttanapada gave up his interest in wealthy kingdom. Part 7, verses 71 to verses 82. Dhruva's severe austerities and their effects. Dhruva Maharaja followed exactly instructed by his guru. Arrived at Madhuvana, took his bath in river Yamuna and observed fasting in the night with great care and attention. After that, as advised by the great sage Narada, he engaged himself in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. First month, ate kapita fruits once in 3 days. Second month, dry grass and leaves once in 6 days. Third month, water once in 9 days. Fourth month, air once in 12 days. Fifth month, controlled his breath and mind and stood on one foot and meditated on the Lord's beautiful form. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura also advises that if we want to be successful in our attempt to go back home to Godhead, we must very seriously act according to the instruction of the spiritual master. That is the way of perfection. There need be no anxiety over attaining perfection because if one follows the instruction given by the spiritual master, he is sure to attain perfection. Our only concern should be how to execute the order of the spiritual master. A spiritual master is expert in giving special instructions to each of his disciples. And if the disciple executes the order of the spiritual master, that is the way of his perfection. Effects of Dhruva's austerities. Dhruva captured the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the three worlds trembled. Supreme Personality of Godhead is the resting place of Brahman, just as the resting place of the sunshine is the sun globe. By associating constantly with the Supreme Personality in his heart, Dhruva Maharaja naturally became equal to the greatest Brahman by his association, and thus became the heaviest, and the entire universe trembled. Since the Supreme Brahman was situated in the heart of Dhruva Maharaj, he became heavier than the heaviest, and therefore everything trembled in all the three worlds. The earth was pushed down. By concentrating constantly on the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, Dhruv Maharaj could press down the entire earth, like an elephant who presses down the boat on which it is loaded. Universe breathing became choked up. Everyone was suffocated. When Dhruv Maharaj became practically one in heaviness with Lord Vishnu, the total consciousness, due to his fully concentrating and his closing all the holes of his body, the total universal breathing became choked up. And all the great demigods in all the planetary systems felt suffocated and thus took the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When hundreds of persons are sitting in an airplane, this is an analogy. Although they remain individual units, they each share in the total force of the airplane, which runs at the thousands of miles per hour. Similarly, when unit energy is identified with the service of the total energy, the unit energy becomes as powerful as the total energy. The demigods approached the Lord for protection. The Lord reassured to demigods, saying that, "Do not be perturbed by this. It is due to the severe austerity and full determination of the son of King Uttanapada, who is now fully absorbed in thought of me. He has obstructed the universal breathing process. You can safely return to your respective homes. I shall stop this boy in his severe acts of austerities, and you will be saved from this situation." Hare Krishna. Thank you for the opportunity, and please forgive me for any shortcomings. Hare Krishna.
All right, very good. I'll also do a quick summary of chapter 8. So in Canto 3, chapter 29, verses 8, 9, 10, describe devotional services in the modes of ignorance, passion, and goodness. Here in Canto 4, the first 7 chapters, the previous unit, number 15, about Daksha Yajna, is an example of devotional service in the mode of ignorance. This unit, Canto 4, chapter 8 to 12, unit 16, about Dhruv Maharaj, is the example of devotional service in the mode of passion. Canto 4, chapters 8 to 12 is unit 16. Unit 16 is titled Dhruv Maharaj. Chapter 8 is titled Dhruv Maharaj Leaves Home for the Forest. The essential instruction from life of Dhruv Maharaj is described in verse 35, that whether or not a person is afflicted by material desires, he is still fit to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the other essential instruction is how to be free of envy. The answer is that upon meeting a more qualified person, one should rejoice and not be envy. Upon meeting a less qualified person, one should feel compassion and not look down on the less qualified. And upon meeting an equally qualified person, one should be friendly and not competitive. This way, one is never affected by the threefold miseries of material world. While describing the lineage of Swayambhuva Manu, Maitreya Muni briefly describes the various sons of Brahmaji as well as the impious lineage of Adharma. The Falashruti in hearing about the impious lineage of Adharma is that this description is also purifying, because by hearing about the causes of destruction, one feels hatred for them and avoids the impious activities and thus advances on the pious path. The incidents in the life of Dhruv Maharaj are very attractive for the devotees. From Dhruv Maharaj's pious actions, one can learn how to detach himself from material possessions and how one can enhance one's devotional service by severe austerities and penances. Hence, Maitreya Muni is very eager to describe the pious activities of Dhruv Maharaj first. Because of envy and pride, Dhruv Maharaj's stepmother Suruchi chastises Dhruv Maharaj when Dhruv Maharaj tries to sit on the lap of his father, Uttanapada, just as Suruchi's son was sitting on Uttanapada's lap. Suruchi says Dhruva's desire is impossible to fulfill, and Suruchi indirectly tells Dhruva to die first and take birth from Suruchi to get on the lap of the father Uttanapada. Dhruva's reaction to this is that even as a child, because of his passionate Kshatriya nature, Dhruva becomes angry, and his mother Suniti also does not know the solution. Dhruva's mother Suniti is also angry at the situation caused by Suruchi. Still, Suniti advises Dhruva to not wish ill fortune for others. Suniti does not know the solution, hence Suniti advises Dhruva to worship Lord's lotus feet, just as Dhruva's great-grandfather Brahmaji did and grandfather Swayambhuva Manu did. That do ekamatya means to concentrate mind on the Lord without deviation. Advantage of Bhakti Yoga is that even a child like Dhruva can be purified by Bhakti Yoga, but not by other processes such as Karma Kanda, demigod worship, because Karma Kanda, demigod worship are difficult for a child. Then Dhruva leaves home in anger due to his Kshatriya nature, and Srila Narad Muni as his spiritual master arrives. Now question may come up, how did Srila Narad Muni know about Dhruva? Answer is, Srila Narad Muni is Trikalgya. Means Srila Narad Muni knows everyone's heart. Plus, Paramatma sends his representative, the spiritual master, when Paramatma sees from within that the devotee is ready for initiation. Srila Narad Muni, a spiritual master of Dhruva, first tests Dhruva, whether Dhruva is ready for initiation. All spiritual masters will test their disciples, and my spiritual master, His Grace Vaishnadas Adhikari, also tested me before initiation. And last week, during my spiritual master's recent visit, few devotees from our various batches also got tested. We'll discuss the practical aspect next week. Now, this test by spiritual master is not to fail the disciple, but is just to see the seriousness of the disciple. Srila Narad Muni says to Dhruva to not be affected by honor and dishonor. And if you are able to understand honor and dishonor, then you should also know that honor and dishonor are destined by one's karma. Even when Srila Narad Muni has come to Dhruva on instruction of Supreme Lord to initiate him, still Srila Narad Muni states to Dhruva that the path of devotional service is very difficult. Hence, Dhruva should go home. And all this is just to test Dhruva. And further, Srila Narad Muni's formula for being aloof from the miseries of this world is just as in Bhagavad Gita 8.7, as well as in Srimad Bhagavatam 10.14.8, are important verses on how to live in this material world. Similarly, in verse number 34 of chapter 8 is important verse on how to live in the material world without envy of others. That upon meeting a more qualified person, one should rejoice and not be envy. On meeting a less qualified person, one should feel compassion and not look down on less qualified. On meeting an equally qualified person, one should be friendly and not competitive. This way, one is never affected by the threefold miseries of material world. Dhruva states to Srila Narad Muni that he, means Dhruva, cannot accept Srila Narad Muni's good advice, and Dhruva expresses his ambitious goal. Dhruva asks Srila Narad Muni to show an honest path to achieve his goal. The essential instruction from the life of Dhruva is described in verse 35, that whether or not a person afflicted by material desires is still fit to worship the Supreme Lord. The answer is that everyone is fit to worship the Lord. Even if one has many material desires to fulfill, he should take to Krishna consciousness and worship the Supreme Lord Krishna. No one is barred from worshipping the Lord, even if one has material desires. Just as Srila Prabhu very rightly recited the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.10 just a few minutes ago. Therefore, Srila Narad Muni instructs Dhruva on the process to attain his goal, Srila Narad Muni instructs Dhruva to worship Lord's lotus feet. Now, question is, what is and what is not the duty of spiritual master? Srila Narad Muni is referred to here as Bhagwan because he can bless any person just as the Supreme Lord can. And Srila Narad Muni could have at once personally given whatever Dhruva wanted. But this is not the duty of spiritual master. Spiritual master's duty is to engage the disciple in proper devotional service as prescribed in scriptures, to undergo devotional discipline in order to achieve the desired result. For his meditation, Srila Narad Muni describes Lord's beautiful form and asks Dhruva Maharaj to chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. The result of meditation is, one, that one is freed from material contamination, and second, one is enriched with highest bliss, and third, one never deviates from it. Srila Prabhupada explains, one may receive a published mantra, but unless the mantra is accepted through parampara, it has no efficacy. Spiritual master gives the Gayatri mantra to disciple by the spiritual master reciting the Gayatri mantra in the right ear of the disciple. The word Desha Kala is described, meaning one should worship the Lord according to time, place, and circumstances, and according to available ingredients such as fresh water, flowers, fruits, etc. That what is convenient in India may not be convenient in Western countries. Hence, you have to worship according to time, place, and circumstances. Srila Narad Muni then meets and pacifies Uttanapada. Then Dhruva performs severe austerities, and the effect of Dhruva's meditation is that earth was pushed down because of his weight. Because his concentration on the Lord, he became almost the total heaviness, and hence he could push down the earth. By spiritual power, his body became the total body of the universe. Hence, when Dhruva closed his holes of the body by Ashtanga Yoga to firmly concentrate his mind on the Lord, all units of the universe felt suffocation as well. That's a little longer summary of chapter 8. We will pause questions for later if time permits. Right now, we'll continue with the chapter 9 revision. Chandran Prabhu is going to start.
Hare Krishna. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, Guru Parampara, and Sri Sri Radha Krishna. Seeking permission from Guru and Gauranka to speak on the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 9, texts 1 to 26. The caption being Dhruva Maharaja returns home. The part first, Lord appears and empowers Dhruva to speak. Personality of Godhead known as Sri Garbha created the planet known as Dhruvaloka for the habitation of Dhruva Maharaja. Dhruva Maharaja becomes mature in his prosecution of devotional service. He sees face to face the same Supreme Personality of Godhead whom he thought of during the course of devotional service. The Supreme Lord is absolute. Hence, form within the heart of devotee, the form in the temple and the original form in Vaikuntha Dhamma are all the same. They are none different from one another. Dhruva Maharaja, upon seeing the Lord face to face, he developed 8 kinds of transcendental ecstasy in his body. He was agitated in awe and respect. He wanted to kiss the lotus feet of the Lord and wants to touch the tips of the toes of the Lord and to embrace his lotus feet. Bhagavad Gita 10th chapter explains that to those who constantly engage in transcendental service of the Lord from within dictates what to do next in order to serve him. Dhruva Maharaja was child, inexperienced, knowing how to describe the Lord. The Lord, out of his costless mercy, touched his conch shell to Dhruva's forehead. He was transcendentally inspired. This is called Brahma Maya. Dhruva Maharaja never went to any school or academic teacher to learn the Vedic conclusion. Because of his devotional service to the Lord appeared and touched his forehead with his conch shell. Then automatically the entire Vedic conclusion was revealed to him. This is possible only for those who have unflinching faith on Supreme Lord, as well as in the spiritual master. His awareness is based on proper understanding of the difference between Jiva and Paramatma, the individual soul and super soul. The individual soul is forever a servant of the super soul. Therefore, his relationship with the super soul is to offer service, that is called Bhakti Yoga or Bhakti Power. Dhruva Maharaja wanted to have the kingdom of his father. His father refused even to allow him to sit on his lap, whereas the Lord already created a planet known as the pole star Dhruva, which could never be annihilated. Dhruva Maharaja attained the perfection in life by the guidance of spiritual master Narada Muni and at the costless mercy of the Lord. To glorify or offer prayers unto the Supreme, one needs the Lord's mercy. Part 2 is the Dhruva Maharaja prayers. He understood the difference between his condition before and after attaining spiritual realization. And seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face, he was aware that for a long time he was practically sleeping. Living entity fully surrenders and accepts his position as an eternal servitor. That is called Seven Mukha. At that time, the spiritual energy gradually reveals the Lord to him. All his senses become purified and he engages only in the service of the Lord. This process of purifying senses and engaging in the service of the Lord is known as bhakti or devotional service. The difference is that in the beginning, the senses are engaged in a mechanical way, but after realization, they are engaged in spiritual understanding. Lord's costless mercy is beyond his estimation. For those constantly engaged in devotional service, God gives intelligence from within for further progress. A person may apparently abstain from sleep all day, but as long as he is not spiritually enlightened, he is actually sleeping. Lord is addressed as friend of the distressed, Artha Bandhu. One surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, gains knowledge and becomes wise. The devotee in perfect knowledge cannot forget his obligation to the Lord at any moment. Dhruva Maharaja repented because he had come to the Lord to render devotional service for material profit. He did it because of lack of knowledge. Persons who worship the demigods are elevated to the heavenly planets, as per the Bhagavad Gita 9.25. But in Bhagavad Gita 9.21, we find those who are elevated to the higher planetary system must come down again as soon as their pious activities are exhausted. Example, the modern astronauts who go to the moon or other heavenly planets by force of jet propulsion have to come down again after exhausting their fuel. This is the analogy. Dhruva Maharaja appreciated the results of devotional service are far more valuable than merging into the absolute or being elevated to the heavenly planet. By devotional service, only one is elevated to the transcendental planet, Golaka Vrindavana. The activities of devotional service, both in the world and in the spiritual world, are one and the same. Example, mango, unripened and ripe are both mangoes only. But it becomes more tasteful and relishable only after ripening. Similarly, it is possible to mature in devotional service only in the association of devotees. This is how it is being explained. A devotee knows that he is not the body. He is never affected by bodily happiness or distress. He is not interested in bodily relationship with wife, children, home, bank balance, etc. It is possible by devotees' association. It is understood that unless one engages in the devotional service of the Lord, it is impossible to understand ultimate form of Lord. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 18.55. Dhruva Maharaja admits that he was ignorant. By years, he was only a child. It was with the blessing of the Lord he was able to understand and appreciate the supreme form of Lord. All the manifestations of the Lord and their different positions are understood to Dhruva Maharaja, namely the manifestation like Siradokshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Karnodakshaya Vishnu, Mahavishnu. End of every millennium, everything enters the body of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who is lying on the lap of Sesanaga, another form of Lord. Dhruva Maharaja points out the difference between Supreme Personality of Godhead and living entities. Lord is eternally liberated. Living entity is always in darkness. Godhead knows past, present, future, and everything happening in everyone's heart. Lord is not part of the soul. He is the unchangeable Supreme Soul. Living entities are his parts and parcels. Living entity is forced to appear in this world under the direction of Deva Maya. Living entity is within the time of past, present, and future. His life has birth and death. But the Lord is Adi Purusha, the original person who has no beginning. He has 6 opulences beyond comparison. He is the master of material nature. His intelligence is not broken under any circumstances. He is the maintenance of the whole creation. Living entities are meant to serve him by offering sacrifices. He is the enjoyer of all the results of sacrifices. Therefore, the learning is everyone should engage themselves in the devotional service of the Lord with his life, his riches, his intelligence, and his words. Devotees in full knowledge can understand the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, can enjoy transcendental bliss. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakura, he gives an example regarding the more we develop our devotion service, more closely we approach the absolute truth, which is in the beginning, when we realize the absolute truth from a distant place is manifest as impersonal. This is being explained by an example. At distance, he sees a person traveling. At a distance, he sees a city. He comes nearer, sees only domes and flags. Still closer to go, he sees paths, gardens, lakes, and furthermore, still progressing towards market shops. Still closer, he could see dancing, jubilation, and finally, only entering the city, he could see everything and satisfied like an advanced devotee, how he is getting elevated. Dhruva Maharaja rendered devotional service with a motive to get the kingdom of his father. Lord is so merciful that not only he fulfilled his desire and he gave protection to the devotee. Lord Chaitanya taught us as not to ask from the Supreme Personality of God any benedictions such as material wealth, popularity, or a good wife. Dhruva Maharaja, even though desired for material benefit, wanted protection from the Lord and not deviated anyway from devotional service. Part 3. The Lord bestows benediction to Dhruva and departs. When Dhruva Maharaja, with good intention, finished his prayers, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was kind enough and said mercifully to Dhruva, "Let there be all good fortune for you." That's how he said. Dhruva Maharaja was only 5 years old, childish way. He desired to have a kingdom greater than his father, greater than his great-grandfather. Lord assured him the love for him, for his pure aspiration to be a great devotee. This illustrates that a highly qualified devotee can have the facility of material enjoyment and at the same time exude love of God. Supreme Person of God had awarded the glowing planet Dhruva to Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva pole star, is the center for all other stars and solar system. The Lord assured Dhruva that he would exist beyond the partial dissolution of this universe and will go directly to Vaikuntha Loka. Lord blessed him, saying that he would rule his father's kingdom and the entire world for 36,000 years. His senses will be strong enough and will never become old. Dhruva's stepmother, Srishi, entered forest in search of her son who was killed while hunting. She too entered into the forest fire and lost her life. Dhruva, being a Vaishnava, was insulted by Srishi. As Supreme Person of God has taken revenge. Lesson what we learn out of this is we should never insult a Vaishnava. It is equal to displeasing the Lord. Dhruva Maharaja's life would be so pure as assured by the Lord himself. The Dhruva would never forget him. Thus, at the time of his death, he would remember the Supreme Lord. Before his death, he would enjoy the material world, performing great sacrifices like Sankirtana Yajna. Chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra continuously helps remember Krishna at the end of life. If we distribute Krishna Prasada, it is more valuable than distributing money. The Lord says to Dhruva Maharaja that he will not come back to this material world and will reach his abode. Dhruva Loka remains like other Vaikuntha Loka. Beyond this universe, it is eternal. After offering him his abode, Lord Vishnu, on the back of Garuda, returned back to his abode. This is my humble submission. I request the devotee to forgive me for any of the shortcomings. Thank you very much.
Mother Jija is next.
Hare Krishna. My obeisances to our Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Ji. I seek blessings from all devotees. Kindly forgive me for any mistakes and shortcomings of Sri Radha Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 4, Chapter 9, verses 27 to 67. This prayer, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, was given by the sage Narada Muni to Dhruva when he was a small boy of 5 years, when he went to do penance and austerity in the forest. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is so kind and merciful that God fulfilled all Dhruva's desires. Though Dhruva Maharaj achieved the goal of life he desired, he was not pleased. Dhruva regrets that he went to the Lord for material things that are perishable. He realized that he wanted a few pieces of glass, but instead he received many diamonds. After the appearance of Lord, Dhruva Maharaj became situated in the platform of Vasudeva. All material contamination was cleared. His concern was to serve the Lord sincerely and seriously. A swan accepts only milk from a mixture of milk and water. A Paramahamsa like Dhruva Maharaj accepts his life and the message that he was coming home. His father Uttanapada was overjoyed. The whole palace was beautifully decorated and glittered with decorations of gold, precious stones, flowers, fruits. The atmosphere of the whole city was very beautiful for the reception of Dhruva Maharaja. Dhruva Maharaja's mother, Suniti, did not hesitate to take the other wife, Suruchi, her son Uttama, on the same palanquin to greet Dhruva Maharaj. His stepmother was the main cause for Dhruva Maharaj to go and live in the forest at the age of 5. But Dhruva Maharaj paid his obeisances to his stepmother. He had no animosity towards anyone, even his stepmother. He was humbler than the grass, more tolerant than a tree, as he was freed from all contamination of material desire. Dhruva Maharaj had conquered the influence of Maya. A devotee of the Lord is honored by everyone throughout the whole world. Dhruva Maharaj's real mother, Suniti, prayed for the safety of and good fortune of her son. With the blessings of his father, King Uttanapada, Dhruva Maharaj ruled the world, and the entire world became a happy place. King Uttanapada was a Raja Rishi. His concern was the welfare of his people. After installing his worthy son on the throne, the king left the palace to perform penance and austerity. Dhruva Maharaj ruled the world for 36,000 years and thus became the most reputed king in this material world. A Vaishnava devotee, a pure Krishna conscious devotee, should always be Anya Bilasita Sunya, free from all material aspirations, always asking for the privilege of serving Lord Krishna. Lord Sri Krishna always knows everything a man is thinking of. So one must always remember the Supreme Personality of God, Head Sri Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna. Thank you, devotees. Hare Krishna.
All right, very good. I will also quickly do chapter 9 summary in essence of time. Canto 4, chapter 9 is titled Dhruva Maharaj Returns Home. As we discussed in the previous chapter 8, the effect of Dhruva's severe austerity and meditation was that earth was pushed down because of his weight. Dhruva's meditation gets broken because the Paramatma within his heart that Dhruva was meditating upon suddenly disappeared. And when Dhruva opened his eyes, that same Lord was standing in front of him. This incarnation of the Lord is known as Shringarbha. He created planet Dhruva Loka for Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva is in ecstasy, drinking Lord's sweetness with his eyes. He kissed Lord's feet with his mouth, embraced Lord with his arms. Dhruva wants to offer prayers, but Dhruva does not know because Dhruva is still about 5 years of age. Hence the Lord touched his conch shell on Dhruva's head as benediction, because of which Dhruva became perfectly aware of Vedas, because the Lord's conch shell is not different than Vedas. This is known as Brahma Maya. Dhruva got transcendentally inspired by the touch of Lord's conch shell. This transcendental inspiration is called Brahma Maya because when one is thus inspired, the sound he produces is exactly corresponding to the sound vibration of the Vedas. This is not some ordinary sound vibration of this material world. Therefore, the sound vibration of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, although presented in ordinary alphabet, should not be taken as mundane or material. Dhruv Maharaj never went to any school, still became perfectly aware of the Vedic conclusion. One cannot understand it simply by academic learning. The result of Lord touching his conch shell on Dhruva is, first, Dhruva attained words to describe the Lord. Second, Dhruva understood the knowledge of the Lord and Jiva. And third, Dhruva offered prayers to the Lord. Dhruva Maharaj starts offering prayers. First he says that Lord is master of senses. The difference between Maya and Swadhama is explained that Lord enlivens the senses of his devotees by his internal energy, and Swadhama and the same energy works as Maya to engage others in material activities. Unless one comes to spiritual platform, his bodily limbs, mind, and other facilities within the body are understood to be sleeping. Next prayer is that Lord is shelter of Jnani, Jikyasu, Artha devotees and Artha Arthi devotees as well. Meaning, these are three kinds of devotees from Bhagavad Gita 7.16, from four kinds of devotees that start rendering devotional service to Krishna. So Lord gives knowledge to the Jnani Bhakta to see the world. Lord's lotus feet are the shelter of Jikyasu Bhakta. And Lord is friend of Artha Bhakta. Dhruv Maharaj is calling himself foolish because of wanting material benedictions. The Artha Arthi from Bhagavad Gita 7.16, the fourth category, the lowest among the four kinds of people who start rendering devotional service to Krishna for some material gain. The next prayer is the glory of bhakti and devotee association. Liberation is not the ultimate benefit of worshipping the Lord. Hence, the prayer states the superiority of bhakti and explains the term patata vimanat. Patata means of those who fall down, and vimanat is from their airplanes, meaning those who are elevated to the heavenly planets are like airplanes which drop when they run out of fuel. The bliss derived from meditation on the Lord's lotus feet and or by hearing the glories of the Lord from the pure devotees is far beyond Brahmanand. Then what to speak of heavenly happiness, which is ended by the sword of time. But bhakti will not be matured without association of devotees. Hence, Dhruv Maharaj prays for devotee association. Plus, by devotee association, one can get detached from material entanglement. Crossing over samsara is a byproduct of bhakti. But devotees are not so much concerned about crossing the samsara. Rather, devotees are focused on doing devotional services. Then the differences between quality of the Lord versus the quality of conditioned souls are described. First, Lord is eternally liberated versus conditioned souls are liberated by Lord's mercy. Second, Lord is completely pure versus souls are contaminated. in the material world. Next, Lord is omniscient versus soul has little knowledge. Next, Lord is super soul versus the soul has material body as the covering. Next is Lord is changeless versus the soul takes many forms. Next is Lord is the original supreme personality and the cause of everything, while the soul is not the cause. Next point is that Lord is full with 6 opulences versus the soul is without good qualities. Next point is that the Lord is master of the 3 modes, while the soul is controlled by the 3 modes. The Lord is stable in intelligence, while for the soul, intelligence is subject to conditions of waking, sleeping, and dreaming. The Lord is constant seer through his Chit Shakti, versus the soul has disrupted vision because intelligence goes through waking, sleeping, dreaming stages. The Lord is maintaining the universes, while the soul cannot even maintain himself. The Lord is enjoyer of sacrifices, while the soul is dependent. Dhruv Maharaj offers prayers to Brahman also and describes the quality of Brahman because he says, yes, Supreme Lord is the original cause of all causes. Still, Brahman is the immediate cause of material manifestation. Dhruv Maharaj further prays for bhakti and for protection, that your lotus feet are the highest attainable blessing, surpassing all material blessings, that you mercifully maintain even ignorant devotees like me, just as a cow protects her calf. The cow gives milk to the ignorant calf and protects the calf from wild animals, even though the calf does not serve the cow. Similarly, the Lord lets have the taste of bhakti even to those who worship him with material desires. And now comes Lord's benediction. Dhruv Maharaj was now aspiring for love of God, hence Dhruv Maharaj became afraid of his previous material desires. The Lord assured Dhruv Maharaj with the words Bhadram Te, all good fortune to you, that Dhruv Maharaj will not be bereft of God's love. Lord awarded Dhruv Loka to Dhruva. Dhruv Maharaj will rule continuously the entire world for 36,000 years. Dhruv Maharaj's all senses will continue to be as strong as they are now. Dhruv Maharaj will never become old. Dhruv Maharaj will perform many great sacrifices and also give great charities. And at the time of death, Dhruv Maharaj will be able to remember the Lord. All these were the benedictions awarded by the Lord to Dhruva. Dhruv Maharaj got the desired results. Still, Dhruv Maharaj regrets that he went to the Lord for perishable material desires. And lastly, by taking Suruchi on the same vehicle, Dhruv Maharaj's mother Suniti shows her greatness because Suniti is mother of a Vaishnava. Suruchi is also showing affection to Dhruv Maharaj, whom she hated before, because everyone respects a devotee. Lastly, Uttarapada retires and enthrones Dhruv Maharaj on the throne. That's a quick summary of chapter 9. In essence of time, we will put our questions towards the end if time permits. Next, chapter 10, Shivangi will be revising. Shivangi has sent recording. I will play her recording. Let's hear from Shivangi.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, seeking permission and blessings from all of you, Srila Prabhupada, Sri Guru Parampara, as well as Sri Radha Krishna, to offer this summary of Canto 4, Chapter 10, titled Dhruva Maharaja's Fight with the Yakshas, from verses 1 to 30. Please forgive me for my shortcomings and mistakes. The chapter begins with Maitreya Muni's narration about Dhruva Maharaja's marriage to the daughter of Prajapati Shishumara, from whom he begot 2 sons. From his second wife, the Lord Vayu's daughter, he begot another son and 1 daughter. At this point in time, Dhruva Maharaja's father, King Uttanapada, had already left family life to pursue self-realization, which took precedence over overseeing Dhruva Maharaja's marriage. Dhruva was deemed worthy of taking charge of the throne even before his marriage, and thus took over after his father left. Around the same time, his younger brother Uttama, who was still unmarried, went on a hunting trip and ended up being killed by a yaksha in the Himalaya mountains. His mother, Dhruva's stepmother, also passed away. Upon hearing this tragic news, the greatly anguished Dhruva rode to the Himalayas to avenge his brother. Although he was a devotee, it was acceptable and within his kingly and brotherly duties to take revenge on the killer. His grief was not incompatible with his position as a devotee. Naturally, being the followers of Lord Shiva, the Yakshas reside in their city named Alakapuri, which is also situated within the Himalayan mountains. As Dhruva blew his conch shell, sounding his approach, the Yakshas and their families shuddered in fear. The Yakshas, reacting to the tumultuous sound of Dhruva's conch shell, emerged from their city and attacked him. The king began to kill them skillfully, displaying his valiant Kshatriya spirit, which was appreciated even by his opponents, though engaged in a heated battle. Numbering 130,000, the Yaksha warriors fought skillfully as well in retaliation and displayed their prowess with an onslaught of technical weaponry. Just as a mountain summit is covered by incessant rainfall, which in turn replenishes its body, Dhruva was covered with the Yaksha's flying arrows, which renewed his warrior spirit to continue the battle. Just as the sun seemingly disappears over the horizon, he was seemingly engulfed in the scores of Yaksha troops. But just as the sun rises again, he reappeared through the foggy mist of Yakshas. Observing this intense battle, denizens from the higher planetary systems feared and prayed for the hero's safety. These beautiful metaphors are meant to exemplify the king's wonderful activities and greatness. He continued fighting vigorously, his sharp arrows piercing the bodies and shields of the Yakshas who fled the battlefield, just as elephants flee when defeated by the lion. Just then, a great dust storm broke out in all directions as Dhruva contemplated his next move. With severe thunder, this storm brought with it terrible things such as blood, mucus, pus, stool, urine, and marrow. All of this was caused by the demonic Yaksha's illusions and mystic powers, which were very bewildering. By the Lord's inspiration, however, great sages approached Dhruva on the battlefield to reassure him and offer words of encouragement, as he was perplexed by the mystical feats of the Yakshas. From this history and pastime, we learn that by the Lord's grace, a devotee at the time of death can simply chant his holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, by which he can transcend the great ocean of the material sky. Thus, Dhruva was able to surpass the illusory magical feats of the Yakshas and continue onwards to victory. This concludes the summary. Thank you all for listening. Hare Krishna.
Great, very good. I will also quickly summarize chapter 10. So in Canto 4, chapter 9, verse number 23, Lord said that Dhruva Maharaj's brother Uttama will be killed. And this killing of Uttama is described in this chapter 10. Canto 4, chapter 10 is short and straightforward chapter and is titled Dhruva Maharaj's Fight with the Yakshas. Because of importance of self-realization, therefore, Uttanapada enthroned his worthy son Dhruva Maharaj and retired even before getting Dhruv Maharaj married. Uttanapada went to forest for his self-realization. Uttama, being killed by Yakshas, as was already predicted by the Lord in 4.9.23. So Srila Prabhupada explained that it is a misunderstanding that devotee should not be angry. Rather, because Dhruv Maharaj is a king and because his brother Uttama was unnecessarily killed, it was king's duty to punish the Yakshas. There are few verses describing the fighting between Dhruv Maharaj and the Yakshas, and there are various analogies described of Dhruva defeating and killing the Yakshas. First is, the description says Dhruv Maharaj became covered with showers of weapons. The analogy described is that as a mountain is covered with torrents of rain. The significance of this analogy is that with rain, dirty things are washed away from mountain. Similarly, with shower of weapons, whatever incompetence Dhruv Maharaj had was washed away and his vigor to fight was renewed. Next description or analogy is that Dhruv Maharaj appeared to merge among Yakshas. The analogy is that as the sun sets in the ocean, seems to be merging in the ocean, but the sun never merges with the ocean. The significance of this analogy is that although seeming to drown in the ocean, the sun is not harmed. Similarly, Dhruv Maharaj had no difficulty. Another description is, as the Yakshas proclaimed victory, Dhruv Maharaj re-emerged. The energy is, as the sun appears from foggy mist. The significance is that insignificant fog cannot cover the sun. By comparison to the sun, Dhruv Maharaj's greatness is affirmed. Next description is Dhruv Maharaj scattered Yaksha's weapons with his arrows. The analogy is as the wind scatters cloud in the sky. The significance is Dhruv Maharaj's bow scattered the Yakshas. The next description is Dhruv Maharaj's sharp arrows pierce the bodies of Yaksha. The analogy is as thunderbolts pierce the mountain. The significance is that the mountain of Yakshas are killed by Dhruv Maharaj. Upon all this fighting, the Yakshas flee, but Dhruv Maharaj is still suspicious. The Yakshas then create illusions to bewilder Dhruv Maharaj. The sages arrive and offer prayers for Dhruv Maharaj's protection and explain that simply by chanting the holy name, one can cross the ocean of material existence. And Dhruv Maharaj followed the same process and conquered the Yakshas. That's a quick summary of chapter 10. All right, let's first revise chapters 11 and 12 and then we'll come to questions if time permits. So chapter 11, Shalini is going to present and she has also provided the recording. I will play Shalini's recording now.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, Dandvat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances, seeking permission and blessings from you all, Srila Prabhupada, all gurus in disciplic succession, and Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. I would like to present a summary of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 11, titled Swayambhuva Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj to stop fighting. Please forgive me for any shortcomings or mistakes. Mystic illusions by Yakshas attacked Dhruva Maharaj and he did not know what to do. Then the sages who had special affection for Dhruva Maharaj manifested and offered him good counsel. They asked Dhruva Maharaj to invoke the Narayanastra to clear off the illusions. Dhruva Maharaj chanted the holy name of Narayana and invoked the presence of Narayanastra. In Kali Yuga, the congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord given by Lord Chaitanya is the only weapon to drive away Maya. When we are bewildered by Maya, only devotee association will come to our rescue. Dhruva Maharaj started throwing arrows at the illusions, which were immediately vanquished. When he saw the Yakshas coming towards him, he started killing many of them. Seeing excessive anger in Dhruva Maharaj and seeing him kill so many Yakshas, out of compassion, Swayambhuva Manu, his grandfather, appeared. He said, "Why are you unnecessarily killing all the Yakshas for the mistake of one Yaksha?" He gives various reasons why not to kill Yakshas. Unnecessary anger is detrimental. Such anger or atirusena is a bodily concept and doesn't please the Lord. Killing is not bad, but offenseless killing is a path to hell. Swayambhuva Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj of sinful activity because Dhruva Maharaj is a great devotee. A Kshatriya is allowed to kill only to maintain law and order in the state. Modern warfare, where attacks are made on innocents, is a sin. A devotee should not kill animals unnecessarily. Reference here is to the slaughterhouses in so-called civilized nations. A Madhyam Adhikari or advanced devotee is cognizant of his relationship with the Lord. The Lord is pleased when he is tolerant towards seniors, tolerant towards those who ill-treat or are envious of him, and when he is friendly towards equals. When he is merciful towards ignorant and innocent people whom he can elevate to devotional service. Be peaceful and be equal to everyone. Samadarshina. Verse 4.11.13. Tikitsaya karunaya maitreya chakila jantasu samatvena cha sarvatma bhagvana samprasidhyati. The Lord is pleased with devotees who have these four qualities: tikitsha, tolerance; karuna, compassion; maitreya, friendship; samatvena, equanimity towards all. Swayambhuva Manu says, if the Supreme Lord is pleased with you, you will reach the Supreme Abode. Now you are exhibiting character that is against the qualities of a pure devotee. Although one Yaksha has killed your brother, the Supreme Lord is a cause of all causes. Without the Lord's sanction, the Yaksha cannot kill your brother. So under the supreme order, your brother was killed. So you should not wipe out a race. You should not kill huge number of Yakshas for one Yaksha's mistake. You should understand the Lord's plan. Without his sanction, not even a blade moves. The Lord has unlimited potencies. The Lord, as the time factor, is the killer of everything, indestructible and neutral to all living beings. We should understand Lord's plan and not to be affected by material modes. So Dhruva Maharaj was indirectly advised not to be affected by the death of his brother because our relationship with the body is entirely material. The real spirit soul is never annihilated or killed by anyone. Dhruva Maharaj says, I understand the philosophy, but still I lost my brother. Swayambhuva Manu continues to explain, there are many causes and effects, but the original cause is Krishna. Though karma plays a role, the Supreme Lord's sanction is most important. God is very kind. He gives everyone an equal chance, but by the resultant action of one's own karma, one suffers or enjoys this material world. Different philosophies offer different perspectives on the causes of suffering and enjoyment. The real conclusion is that our work is what binds us within this material world in different varieties of life. They are ignorant of the Lord who is the root of everything. A devotee completely surrenders to the Supreme who reveals himself by his causeless mercy. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam, the Lord says, I give him intelligence. What is that intelligence? Yena mam upyantite. The Lord gives one the intelligence to cross over the ocean of knee signs and return home back to Godhead. Swayambhuva Manu emphasizes giving up anger and surrendering to the Lord. He asked Dhruva Maharaj to pacify and ask forgiveness from Kuvera. He says, it has been proved that you are very affectionate to your brother. To prove that you don't have to kill so many yakshas. Please restrain. Don't do this and give up your anger. You have displeased Kuvera, who is the king of yakshas. Wrath and displeasure of great personalities will affect our dynasty. Please pacify him. Say sorry to Kuvera. Dhruva Maharaj restrained from fighting. This is the difference between devotees and non-devotees. Even devotees sometimes become excessively angry and do some mistakes, but they admit their mistakes honestly and don't justify them and make more mistakes. They regret those mistakes. Dhruva too admitted his mistake and stopped fighting. Those who are inclined to material activities remain in the material sphere, but persons who engage in devotional service reach the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone.
All right, very good. I will also quickly summarize chapter 11. Chapter 11 is titled Swayambhuva Manu advises Dhruva Maharaj to stop fighting. So Dhruva overcomes the Yaksha's illusions and massacres them all. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also given us a nice weapon for this stage, as is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Sangha Upanga Astra, that in this age, the Narayanastra, or the weapon to drive away Maya, is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Krishna and Maya are always there side by side. Hence, by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, will keep Maya away. Manu arrives to stop Dhruva Maharaj from killing because Dhruva Maharaj killed so many because of fault of one yaksha. Such excessive anger is sinful and is bodily concept and does not please the Lord. Unnecessary anger is detrimental, is again described here. Earlier is also described. So killing is not bad, but when killing is done unnecessarily, or when an offenseless person is killed, such killing opens the path to hell. Dhruva Maharaj was saved from such sinful action because he was a great devotee. Similarly, a Kshatriya is allowed to kill only for maintenance of the law and order of the state. He is not allowed to kill or commit violence without reason. The modern day warfare attacks are made upon innocent citizens who are without fault. And how to please the Lord is, first, one is tolerant towards seniors and even when ill-treated by envious. Second, being merciful towards inferiors and ignorant. Third, by being friendly towards equals. And fourth, by being equal to everyone. These are qualities of a Madhyamadhikari. Srila Prabhupada says, It is duty of Madhyamadhikari to act in accordance with these principles. This way, when Lord is pleased, the result is one becomes free from the modes. Kanishta Adhikari, on the other hand, is simply concerned with the worship of Gopinath in the temple, and he worships the Lord with great devotion according to rules and regulation. But he is limited to the temple, and Kanishta Adhikari does not appreciate devotee association. Upon explaining the various reasons to not kill the yakshas, Manu saw that Dhruv Maharaj was still not satisfied because of his brother's death. Hence, Manu further explains that the ultimate cause is the Supreme Lord. That Lord is in charge of creation, maintenance, destruction. Thus, Dhruv Maharaj is advised not to be afflicted by his brother's death because bodily relations are only at material level. Still, the question remains that how does creation, maintenance, destruction of bodies take place? Hence, Manu describes that Lord is the cause, although Lord is still aloof. Well, if Lord is aloof, then how is everything happening? The answer is that everything is happening by Lord's inconceivable energies. The analogy of a potter is given to explain how material energy works. Cannot be explained just on the basis of chemical reaction. The potter's wheel rotates and several varieties of earthen pots come out. There are many causes for the earthen pots, but the original cause is the potter who sets the force on the wheel. And further, Manu explains that Lord as time is neutral. It is the karma as the cause of everyone's happiness and distress. Although different philosophers argue about karma as well. Manu explains that no one can understand the Lord's plan. Yakshas are not the killers or your brother because Lord is cause of birth and death, although Lord is unaffected. And here the analogy of mental speculators compared to Dr. Frog is described. That mental speculators cannot understand the absolute truth. The absolute truth, transcendence, is never subject to direct experience or mental speculation. A person may be a great academic person, a scholar or professor, but he cannot speculate and expect to understand the absolute truth, for his senses are limited. The cause of all causes, the absolute truth, can be known from the absolute truth himself and not by our own ascending process to reach him. Upon hearing Manu's instructions, Dhruv Maharaj says that, okay, I am enlightened by you, still I cannot give up my ego. Dhruv Maharaj is already liberated because Dhruv Maharaj saw the Lord at an age of around 5. But right now, Dhruv Maharaj is temporarily afflicted by illusory bodily conception of life due to his brother's death. Hence, in this last part of the chapter, Manu instructs Dhruv Maharaj to give up anger and to surrender to the Lord, and Dhruv Maharaj should not continue material conception of I, me, mine. Manu instructs to give up anger and to surrender to the Lord. And this giving up anger point is again and again emphasized here. That's a quick summary of chapter 11. Lastly, let's discuss chapter 12. Uncle will present the first part of chapter 12.
Hare Krishna. All the assembled devotees, I seek permission and blessings from you all. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru Parampara and Sri Radha Krishna, seeking permission and being able to speak. Should there be any shortcoming due to my limited realization, please forgive me. I am privileged today to present Canto 4, Chapter 12, Part 1, 2 and 3, verses 1 to 35. Hare Krishna. Part 1, Kuruva's instructions and benediction to Dhruva. When Dhruva Maharaj was fighting and killing the innocent Yakshas, the descendants of Kuvera, Swayambhu Manu, his grandfather, arrives and gave reasons to stop fighting and killing Yakshas because the Supreme Lord is the ultimate cause. Time causes creation and destructions of living entities. At this stage, Kuvera, the king of Yakshas and master of treasury, appeared to Dhruva and spoke that Yakshas are not the actual killers of your brother. Ultimate cause is the supreme, which is within the jurisdictions of time limit, plus illusory bodily concept I and you, cause repeated birth and death. Kuvera advises Dhruva Maharaja to worship the Supreme Lord, the highest wealth, to be free from the wrath that affects the generations and the lingering resentments that will remain. Pleased with Dhruva's devotion, demigod Kuvera offered a benediction, the liberation from material nations, the highest Purushartha, which was insignificant to the eyes of Dhruva Maharaj. Whereas the intellectual Mahamati desired only Panchama Purushartha, constant, unflinching remembrance of the Lord. Pleased with Dhruva's humility and purity, Lord Kuvera happily blessed Dhruva. The benediction and Dhruva Maharaj, a Vaishnava, did not refuse because it would be favorable to his advancement to Krishna consciousness. Dhruva Maharaja's message is, did not ask any material opulences or treasures. Instead, he prayed for supreme wealth, that is, unflinching remembrance of the Lord. Part 2, Dhruva Maharaj's glorious rule and renunciation. After being blessed by Kuvera, Dhruva Maharaja ruled the earth for 36,000 years. As a king and as an ideal Kshatriya, he performed many sacrifices in order to please the Lord, constantly engaged in devotional service. Dhruva Maharaja had all the godly qualities and respectable to the devotees of the Supreme. Dhruva Maharaja was exhausting his good and bad karma credits. He decided out of the time limit to destroy sinful reaction. He did not have any karmic reaction, which devotees understand when exhausted. What we can understand from Dhruva's activities, he considered his body, wife, children, army, friends, dress, rich ornaments, and comfortable palaces are creation of the illusory energy. If one is Krishna conscious, it does not matter whatever is the motivation in the beginning, but later he will realize the real truth by the grace of the Lord, marked by peace, prosperity, righteous governance, strength and respect, always guided by devotion. Dhruva Maharaja handed over the kingdom to his son and prepared for his spiritual prospect. He went to Bhattreya Ashrama, a holy place, performed intense meditation on the lotus feet of the Supreme, completely absorbed in Lord Vishnu, free from material desires, for his final journey. The essence is his life shows how true success is not wealth and power, but it is remembering the Lord at the end of life. The third part, Dhruva Maharaja ascends to Dhruvaloka. By constant engagement in devotional service and bodily transformation, he totally forgot his bodily existence and liberated from material bondage, perfectly fit to be transferred to the spiritual world. An analogy for this is coconut. When completely dry, the pulp separates from the inner and outer covering. After ruling the earth with great success, wealth, and dharmic principles, he renounced everything, entrusted to his son the kingdom, and prepared for his departure. A transcendental spiritual plane sent by Lord Vishnu, manned by two associates, Nanda and Sunanda, invited Dhruva to ascend and go to Dhruvaloka. On his way, he bowed to all sages, demigods, and all living beings who blessed him. On his way, he saw God of death fearlessly placed his feet on the head of death and ascended higher, since a pure devotee overcomes death. Analogy: a cat carries kitten within its mouth. The same cat carries mouse. The kitten feels secure, whereas the mouse feels death. Finally, reached the eternal planet Dhruvaloka, where he resides forever, worshipping the Lord with undisturbed devotion. The message for all of us: Dhruva Maharaja attained the spiritual planet Dhruvaloka by his devotion and surrender. Despite his earlier desire for a material kingdom greater than his father and grandfather, his ascent is a symbol of how devotion to the Lord grants victory over death and access to the eternal life. Hare Krishna.
All right, very good. So Abhishek Prabhu is not prepared for the second half. So I will now do a quick summary of chapter 12. We'll go a few minutes over. We are very close to end time, but please tolerate so we can just finish this off in the next 5 to 8 minutes, and I'll give feedback for everyone. So Canto 4, chapter 12 is titled Dhruva Goes Back to Godhead. Seeing Dhruva Maharaj's anger subsided, Kuvera appears and speaks to Dhruva Maharaj. Kuvera instructs Dhruva Maharaj that time causes creation and destruction, plus the bodily concept of I, me, mine causes repeated birth and death. Kuvera assures Dhruva Maharaj that time is the cause of creation and destruction, because Dhruva Maharaj was thinking that Dhruva Maharaj has just killed so many yakshas. And this I, me, mine is like a dream and is product of ignorance and misconceived intelligence, resulting in repeated birth and death. Kuvera's instruction to Dhruva Maharaj is to worship the Lord. Hence, Kuvera describes the beautiful features of the Lord and asks Dhruva Maharaj to ask for a benediction. Kuvera's instruction is to ask for a benediction. Even though Kuvera is not a pure devotee, Kuvera is treasurer of demigods and very rich, and asked for a benediction, asked Dhruva Maharaj for asking a benediction. Still, Dhruva Maharaj asks for unflinching faith and remembrance of Supreme Lord. Although the treasurer of demigods Kuvera could have offered immense riches, Dhruva Maharaj did not ask for such material benediction, knowing their insignificance. Rather, Dhruv Maharaj asked for Pancham Purushart, the constant remembrance of the Supreme Lord. Now, Kuvera is not a pure devotee, and Dhruv Maharaj is more spiritually advanced than Kuvera. Still, Dhruv Maharaj asked from Kuvera the unflinching remembrance of the Lord because of Manu's words in the previous chapter, Canto 4, Chapter 11, verse number 34, that Manu said the wrath of great personalities may affect our family. Kuvera's displeasure might act as an obstacle for Krishna Smaran. Hence, Dhruv Maharaj's request will naturally remove any lingering resentment that Kuvera may have. Now, a question may come up that why did Dhruv Maharaj take a benediction from a demigod? So for benediction from demigod example, you can ask Ganesh to remove hindrances on the path of spirituality. And do not ask benediction like materialistic people wanting to remove material hindrances. And ask Durga Devi to make you and family as a great devotee like Durga Devi herself. So for a Vaishnava, there is no objection to taking a benediction from demigod if it is favorable for advancing in Krishna consciousness. There are many examples like the gopis did worshipping Katyayani, and Arjuna also worshipped various demigods to serve Krishna. Then Dhruva's glorious rule and renunciation is described. Srila Prabhupada explains that what can be understood from the acts of Dhruv Maharaj is that Dhruv Maharaj considered his body, his wives, his children, his friends, his army, his rich treasury, his very comfortable palaces, and his many enjoyable, pleasurable grounds to be creations of illusory energy. From the acts of Srila Dhruv Maharaj, we can understand that somehow or other, if one becomes Krishna conscious, it does not matter what his motivation is in the beginning. He will eventually realize the real truth by the grace of the Lord. Then Dhruv Maharaj ascends to Dhruv Loka. When one attains liberation from gross and subtle body, then one is competent and fully prepared to be transferred to the spiritual world. To explain this, an analogy is given that when a coconut becomes completely dry, the coconut pulp within the coconut shell separates from the bondage of the shell and the outer covering. Srila Prabhupada explains that being puzzled and in hastiness, Dhruv Maharaj forgot how to receive these direct servants of the Supreme Lord. Hence, Dhruv Maharaj simply chanted the holy name of the Lord. Chanting of the holy names of the Lord is perfect in every way. Even though one does not know how to please the Lord Vishnu or his associates, simply by sincerely chanting the holy name of the Lord, everything becomes perfect. A devotee, therefore, either in danger or in happiness, constantly chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Death personified came in front of Dhruv Maharaj, and Dhruv Maharaj was not scared at all. Rather, Dhruv Maharaj put his feet on the head of death personified and climbed the airplane. The analogy of cat carrying kitten in her mouth and the same cat carrying a mouse in her mouth is described that there is difference. The kitten feels secured in mother's mouth, while the mouse fears death. With this analogy, Srila Prabhupada explains that there is difference between death of a devotee and death of ordinary person. As the airplane was ascending to Vaikuntha or to Dhruloka, Dhruv Maharaj remembers her mother Suniti, that how can he go to Vaikuntha leaving behind his mother, because the mother Suniti was Dhruv Maharaj's Patha Pradaksha Guru, who first instructed Dhruv Maharaj in achieving the Lord's favor. Understanding Dhruv Maharaj's mind, Nanda and Sunanda, the direct servants of the Lord who came from Vaikuntha, showed Dhruv Maharaj that Suniti was on another similar airplane. And Srila Prabhupada says that this is a message to all mothers to take inspiration from Suniti, that every mother should instruct and train her child to become a devotee of the Supreme Lord. Then the glories of Dhruva Loka are described, and Srila Narad Muni glorifies Dhruva at the Pracheta's sacrifice. Dhruva Maharaj attained the unattainable at a very young age. In a very short time, Dhruva Maharaj conquered the unconquerable Lord. Lastly, the Falastruti from our discussion today on the Dhruva Maharaj chapters is that devotees like to hear about Dhruva Maharaj. By hearing, chanting the narration of Dhruva Maharaj in morning and evening time can fulfill desires of wealth, reputation, increase life. One can even attain Dhruva Loka, counteract sinful actions, attain pure devotional service, diminish threefold miserable conditions of life, and acquire exalted qualities exactly like Dhruva Maharaj. That's a quick summary of chapter 12. Thus we have summarized at a little faster pace Canto 4, chapters 8 to 12, unit 16, which is titled Dhruva Maharaj. Thank you all for joining early as well as tolerating a few extra minutes. Quick feedback for everyone that all of you should get the recording for today and note your time. Some of you went double the time. So you have to fine tune yourself. You also have my presentation. It's not that I was also on time, but we have to try to keep fine tuning ourselves. So you all were given approximate timelines, and why we are over the timeline is because some of you went double the time that was allotted to you. So try to fine tune. I know it's a difficult topic that we couldn't cover, but we keep trying. So try your best. Double time is not reasonable. Little bit over is understandable, but you can't go double the time. So everybody get the recording and measure the time that you took for your presentation versus the time that was allotted to you. And this point about Abhishek Prabhu not being ready, at our next class when Shivangi and Shalini will be back, we'll discuss about this attention, our own attention span that devotees had direct experience when they were doing services at last week when my Guru Maharaj was present. The attention span of everybody is very, very far from where it should be. So it's going to be a learning experience. So spirituality is not about quantity. So there's no point in attending so many classes if you are doing bits and pieces here and there. No. Spirituality is about quality. So if you cannot keep up with everything and you didn't even recognize that the presentation was today, well, you have too many things on your plate. It is not going to help you. So you need to cut down and spend quality time on spirituality, not quantity. Spirituality, at the last week, my Guru Maharaj said, spirituality is not about quantity, spirituality is not about time. Rather, spirituality is about taste. So if you are trying to just do so many things without developing taste, it's not going to help you. So cut down on your spirituality and develop taste little by little. Develop your attention span. We'll discuss all these at our next class. So we have gone over. I won't take more time. Any questions we can discuss at our next class. So the homework for next class is read Canto 4, Chapter 13. We will stop here. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare